how have you seen branding evolve, like as we've moved forward and as digital platforms have evolved? Like, where do you see it going next in terms of like how we apply the word branding and how we utilize it as a framework that actually means something and is executable upon?
The nature of branding hasn't changed, but the thing that people look for in a brand, I feel, has changed quite a lot. So if you think back to sort of like the 80s, 90s, when you saw an icon or a symbol or a brand that actually meant power, authority, yuppiedom, prestige and privilege, those were things that people were really looking for. And so the brands were looking for fame, brands were looking for social status. And so in that culture, brands had a certain thing. If you then go into sort of really where we are now, where purpose has become such a big part of corporate strategy and wanting to be seen as doing something good in the world, then those old intangible aspects of the brand are no longer valuable, but there are other things that people find valuable. Does this company have the right ethical outlook? Does this company do more good than it does bad? And so I've always defined brand as the intangible value of a product. And a lot of commercial branding talks about that intangible value in terms of how much money you can charge above the sort of commodity product. So it's a financial value that is intangible. And I think one of the big mistakes that people in the social enterprise space is that they think that's all that branding is. It's just the ability to charge more for a commodity product. And when you're dealing with tackling poverty and inequality, that doesn't seem like a really good value to stand for. But a brand can really be any intangible. So it can be what that company is known for in terms of how much good they do in the world. Intangibles in terms of, do they live the walk? Do they do what they say they'll do? And so in many ways, just thinking of what is the intangible that I'm trying to create above and beyond the utility of the product. And I think that keeps changing. I think in the age of mass marketing, branding was all about image and perception. Branding was all about who used the product, what celebrities used the product. It was creating image and metaphor around a particular product. What I think the biggest shift that happened in the last 100 years is that we had to assess brands based on what the companies told us back in those days. There was no way of actually finding out what was really going on. And so that world has changed. The age of only knowing what the company tells you have gone away. Digital technology has connected everyone. You've got customer references. Everybody's got access to a broadcast tool. And so I actually feel right now, marketing really has to be much more about managing the reality of the company. What are you actually doing? Where are you pushing boundaries? Where are you innovating? Rather than what do you say you're doing? So for a lot of the time, I've talked about brands being judged not on what they say, but what they actually do. And I think we are in an era where the actions of a brand are far more important than the communications of a brand.